Hi everyone, today is January 31st, 2021, and I read Genesis chapter 31. I cannot believe we've been on this journey together for 31 days for the whole month of January, and I'm very excited of what lies ahead, and I'm very thankful that God has brought me until here today. I want to switch up the style a little bit and start off by giving a summary of the whole entire chapter, then going back and sharing verses and my thoughts for today. Our passage opens up with Laban's sons accusing Jacob of profiting off and gaining wealth through their father Laban. Now, it's not just the sons of Laban that think this. I think Laban also agrees with them. And so this leads Laban to no longer have the same kind of love towards Jacob. Then God appears to Jacob and commands him to go back to his home where his father and his people are. And Jacob praises the Lord and gives all credit to God and uses his speckled flock as an example to show how God has provided him through everything in every situation. Jacob listens to God, he packs his stuff, he gathers all his possessions and his current family members, and he starts his journey back home. Now here, without even Jacob knowing, Rachel steals her father's gods and brings it along with them. Laban finds out of the stolen gods and also Jacob's move 3 days later. He pursues after them for 7 days, and he does actually end up meeting Jacob, his daughters, and his children. He then basically tells Isaac why he would not even allow him to say goodbye to his own children, and also, where did his gods go? Jacob then tells him that he can search through all his belongings and all his family's belongings, and whoever has the gods can die. While Laban's searching everywhere, Rachel, who originally stole it, sits on it, hides it under her and says, "Guys, sorry, I can't get up." Because of Rachel, who hid all the stuff, Laban has zero success in finding it. And this kind of actually offends Jacob and angers him. He basically says, "Where's your trust, dude? And what did I even do to you that you had to follow me all the way here to apparently find something that I have stolen?" Now, if I was Laban, I'd be like, trust? Really? Trust? Do you want to use that word right now? Do you even know what that means? Because so far, what Jacob has done, I cannot trust him with anything. Unlike what I thought, Jacob and Laban makes a covenant with each other to serve as a witness between them so things like this don't ever happen again. Now, I know that summary was quite long, but now I want to move on to share what I thought or what came to my mind when reading today's chapter. The biggest thing I noticed was that their words do not match their actions. To put it in another way, Leah, Rachel, Jacob, and Laban, all of them do not reveal their faith in their lives. I want to read us verses 3, a little bit of 5 and 7, and finally verse 20, because I think this perfectly illustrates what I'm trying to say. Then the Lord said to Jacob, "Return to the land of your fathers and to your kindred, and I will be with you." Then Jacob basically admits that God has always been with him in verses 5 and 7. "But the God of my father has been with me." Verse 7, "But the God did not permit him to harm me." And then out of nowhere in verse 20, he basically turns 180 and then does this. "And Jacob tricked Laban by not telling him that he intended to flee." Now, I don't know if reading you the verses kind of confused you or helped you understand, but I'm going to elaborate on this. In verse 3, God specifically says that he will be with Jacob on his journey back home, and that it is his will for Jacob to go and return to his family. And I use verses 5 and 7 to show that Jacob mentally knows this. He knows that God has been with him through everything. However, he doesn't reveal his faith. He doesn't reveal what he knows through his actions, because we know in verse 20 that he tricked Laban and he did not tell him that he's moving back home. Now, if he knew that this was 100% God's will, and if he believed that God will be with him, then he would have no trouble in telling Laban, "Hey, guess what? I'm moving back home and God is going to be with me, so this is why I'm telling you this." I know that might have been very wordy, but what I'm trying to explain and tell you guys is that it's extremely hard. It's very hard to put our faith into action. But I want to encourage everyone, and I'm in the process of learning too, that whenever we do our QT or Bible reading, let's remember it throughout our day. Let's keep it in our hearts so that we can reflect God's words and God's will through our actions. Hi, I'm editing right now and I completely forgot to mention how reading today's chapter, it made me think how God felt towards Jacob. If I was God and I saw Jacob doing all these things in a world that I created, I would have just smushed him on the spot like an ant, smush and like smeared him all around because I cannot bear what this guy is doing. But God doesn't do that. He's patient with him. So I was just curious of God's emotions towards him and his plans and just how he's just managing this guy. So yeah, I just wanted to put this in here. Today's video was super long and I kind of had trouble organizing it too because I learned so much from it, but I didn't know how to put it into words. But yeah, that is it for today's journey. Thank you so much for joining. It's the 31st day, the last day of January, and I cannot believe God has brought me this far. Make sure to watch yesterday's video up there, and I'll see you guys tomorrow with Genesis chapter 32. Bye!